Hello students, welcome to class 10th Nationalism in India. This is Histories lesson 2. In this video we talk about Khilafat and First World War. I am VINEETA ARYA MA'AM from KV Dogra Lines, Meerut. First of all, we discuss what is nationalism. Nationalism, it involves a great or strong identification of a group of individuals with a political entity defined in national terms, that is, a nation. Modern nationalism in Europe was associated with the formation of nation states. But in India, as in many other colonies, the growth of nationalism is connected to the anti-colonial movement under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi. As you seen in the picture, this was a picture from First World War. You all know that it broke out in 1914 and we are the colony of Britain. So we suffered hard during First World War because Britain is participating in this war. So to its colony, we have to help Britain. Because of helping Britain, it introduced huge increase in defense expenditure, rise in prices, which is great suffering to common man, and due to failure of crop, a famine was seen. First World War created an economic and political situation in India. As we all know, the war played an important role in shaping India's freedom struggle. Increase in defense expenditure due to the war led to the increase in taxes, custom duties, prices, and the introduction of income tax. During 1980s, 18 and 19 and 1920 to 21, food shortages due to the failure of crops and famine and epidemics that took a heavy toll of life created resentment among the people of India against the foreign rule. Extreme hardship, poverty, and forced recruitment in the army made people hostile to the British. You see, this is the picture of Gandhiji, and he came back to India in 1915 from South Africa, and he introduced a powerful weapon that is called Satyagraha. Satyagraha means appeal for truth. Mahatma Gandhi introduced this concept during his stay in South Africa. It is the based it is based on the ideal of truth and non-violence. Literally, it means holding on to truth or truth force. It is a non-violent struggle which is followed by Gandhiji and his followers. If the cause, Gandhiji said, if the cause was truth and if the fight was against injustice, then physical force was not necessary to fight the oppressor. For this, he adopted various measures or methods like hunger strike, peaceful demonstrations, strike, hartal, and non-cooperation with the government are some methods of satyagraha. Now, when Gandhiji arrived to India, Firstly, he introduced three satyagrahas. First, in 1916, Champaran. As you see, this is Champaran. It is in Bihar. It was against the oppressive plantation system. Second one is in 1917 in Kheda. Crop failure and plague epidemic made the life of farmers miserable in the Kheda district of Gujarat. So they started a movement under Gandhiji's leadership with the demand of a reduction in land revenue. And third satyagraha is held in 1918 in Ahmedabad. This is Ahmedabad. Low wages and poor working condition forced the mill workers of Ahmedabad to start a movement under Gandhiji's leadership in 1918. Now we talk about Rowlatt Act. We all know this act has provided enormous power to the British government. This act gave the government the power to imprison any person without any trial for a period of 2 years. It was passed hurriedly by Imperial Legislative Council, but no Indian member is its part. It gave enormous power to repress political activities. It introduced in 1919. On 6th April 1919, Gandhiji started the non-violent civil disobedience movement for opposing the Rowlatt Act with a nationwide hartal that is called Rowlatt Satyagraha. Shops were closed down, rallies were organized, and rail workshops workers went on strikes. Widespread attack on banks, post offices, and railway station after police attacked the peaceful procession. So, government brutally repressed the nationalists and they imposed martial law. And at that time, Amritsar's Governor General was General Dyer. Now let's talk about Jallianwala Bagh massacre. This is Punjab, and here you see this is Amritsar, and in Amritsar this incident held at Jallianwala Bagh. On 13 April 1919, a public meeting was organized at Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar to protest against the arrival of national leader. As you all know that 13 April is also celebrated as Baisakhi. So normal peoples, village people who know nothing about the martial law came to attend a fair which is also going in this park only. General Dyer reached the meeting place along with British troops. He ordered the troops to fire. The firing lasted for nearly 10 minutes, but it killed more than 1,000 people. This incident is called Jallianwala Bagh massacre. But what was the result of Jallianwala Bagh massacre? Crowds took to the street in many North Indian towns. Strikes, clashes with the police, and attacks on government buildings were extensively witnessed. The British used brutal repression seeking to humiliate the terrorized people. People were flogged and villages were bombed. This violence forced Gandhiji to stop the movement. See, this is the place where Jallianwala Bagh massacre happened, and he was General Dyer. Now, let's talk about Khilafat movement. As we all know that this movement was organized by two Ali brothers, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali, and their aim was to protect the Turkish Khalifa, or we can say that Khalifa is the spiritual head of Muslims, and because of Treaty of Constantinople, the Turkish Sultan has to leave his title, and various harsh treaties were imposed on Khalifa. And as I have told you that Khalifa was the spiritual head of Muslims, so in our country, the Muslim community used to organize a movement against Britain, and that is called Khilafat movement. These are the Ali brothers, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali. Later on, Gandhiji decided to join them. He seen that Khilafat as an event where Hindu and Muslim unite and fight together for our country, India. So Gandhiji decided to launch the non-cooperation movement. And here are some various points why he launched the non-cooperation movement. Because of First World War, heavy taxes, high prices, famines, epidemics made people's life miserable. Next, Rowlatt Act invited large-scale protest. Then Jallianwala Bagh massacre. And due to Muslims become unhappy due to all ill treatment of Turkey, they started Khilafat movement. The Congress session at Nagpur 1920 adopted Gandhiji's the idea of non-cooperation. Non-cooperation was launched under Gandhiji's leadership in 1920. Its aim at protesting against the injustice done to Punjab and Turkey to attain Swaraj. Middle class people joined this movement in cities and towns. Students stopped going to educational institutions, and teachers also stopped going to educational institutions. Lawyers boycott law courts. Foreign goods were boycotted. Different stands within the non-cooperation movement. So in towns and cities, educated middle class started this movement. Educational institutions, law courts, and the council elections were boycotted. Foreign clothes, bonfires were burnt. People start using khadi clothes. Women started doing picketing. Now non-cooperation movement slowed down in towns and cities because of khadi was very costly and people are not able to afford khadi. Indian boycotted British institutions like law courts and educational institutions, but they don't have any institution and no alternative. So people has to stop boycott. Now movement in the countryside means village. You see, this is the picture of Baba Ramchandran. Baba Ramchandra, a sannyasi that led the Awadh movement. It was against landlords and talukdars for reduction of rent and abolition of begar. Begar means work doing without any wages. So they formed Awadh Kisan Sabha. Next, tribal movement. In Gudem Hills of Andhra Pradesh, tribal people started a movement under the leadership of Alluri Sitaram Raju, and they want back their traditional rights over forest. They followed violent method of struggle. This is the picture of Alluri Sitaram Raju. Now movement in plantation. Workers in plantation of Assam demanded the right to move freely in and out of the state. As we all know, because of Inland Immigration Act of 1859, people of plantation have no freedom to go out of the estate. But when they heard about the non-cooperation movement, they moved to their villages. They thought that the Gandhi Raj was coming and everyone would be given land in their villages. But they were caught and brought back. Now, withdrawal of non-cooperation movement. We all know that Gandhiji take it back because you remember the incident of Chora Chori? There the movement became violent. 22 policemen were killed in this incident. Chora Chori is in Gorakhpur, UP. Gandhiji was against violence. The movement slowed down in urban area. He thought that it was necessary to train the people in non-violent Satyagraha. Because of this violence, Gandhiji thought that he should first train the people what is Satyagraha and how we have to follow it. Now, significance of the non-cooperation movement. It was a large-scale mass movement, so all common people from all social groups joined it. Non-cooperation movement and Khilafat went together, so they promoted Hindu-Muslim unity. Peasants, tribal movement became a part of Indian national movement. It was a non-violent movement, so it popularized the Gandhian idea of non-violent Satyagraha. Thank you.